So this video today is about how to make a killer landing page for a local business. Doesn't matter if it's a product or service business. This video is going to tell you how to get a higher conversion rate that you're getting right now by multiples of factors difference between what you have now. You're getting a conversion rate of 5, 10%, even 50%. This could potentially get you to the 20, 30, 40% range on anything you're doing. So how do you do that? There's a few things that everybody must do to come up with a general formula. And whatever way you do it, it has these main critical components that I'm going to go through with you here. And so if you know those, you employ those on your next landing page design or the next page that you come out with, you will be the one that gets those kind of insane conversion rates on your landing pages. And so it's up to you to follow them. So anyway, what I've done for you here is try to make it as simple as possible for you to make a landing page that gets those kind of conversion rates. So what is it that every page that converts at a very high rate have? First of all, I know that these things are the commonality between all the high converting landing pages out there, because myself has designed over 100 local landing pages, unique landing pages for different industries, different markets, products, services, everything pretty much. And I came to a conclusion after these hundreds of designs of these main key critical components that make a difference on the design that need to be worked and integrated in on every design as mentioned. So what are those components? First of all, of course, you got to have an offer. Now this one's huge. Most people don't have an offer on their local landing page. Why not? It's not common knowledge that you should have one on there. Most firms that are going to do a landing page for you, first of all, they don't understand conversion psychology. They're probably just a graphics designer. They don't understand human psychology, what compels people to be buying. You have to figure that out for yourself if you're going to get a good design out of 90% of people that, quote unquote, say they do graphics design. So with that though, and what they should know, is that a page should have an actual objective, call to action, an offer on it that compels the user to take action on something specific. And don't tell me, hey, I want them to call me as the call to action. Okay, that might be fine. If you're a plumber, your toilet's clogged and it's midnight and you need somebody now, you don't need a call to action. But for everybody else, practically speaking, you need a call to action. You could give away your first treatment is, ultimately half price. So it could be you're giving away, if you're a moving company, you could give away free boxes. You could have, ultimately a $50 voucher off of your first treatment. Whatever it is that you're going to do. And it doesn't have to be as aggressive as $50 off, by the way. But you need to have something there that's going to make you seem different than all the other people in your space having ads running right now. So when they get to your page, it needs to be then designed so they say, yep, I know I'm going to stop searching right now, because it's really easy to go back to Google and click on something else. Or just see what else is out there and forget and never come back. You want them to stop dead in their tracks. If you want a conversion rate that gets in the 30% plus range, that's what you need. Okay, so that's the big one. The second thing I see on a lot of landing pages is they don't have the city or location in the landing page. So ultimately, I'm sure you've noticed too, if you're trying to get a contractor, you type in contracting services in your city, Dallas, whatever. You see some ads there that say contracting services. They don't say they're in Dallas, number one, which is mistake number one. Then number two, you get to the page. It says nowhere on the page, what they call above the fold. In other words, before you have to scroll on the page that you're taken to, that you serve people from Dallas. So guess what? People, they get to the page, they don't instantly get what they want, like a little kid. They'll leave. That's the way things are now. It's too easy to go back. You have to tell people exactly that you serve in their market without having to scroll, without having to do anything. The harder they have to work to find that information, because that's the second most important thing on the page. Number one being, do you actually do the service and can I trust? Which we want to call it number three. can I trust this company, or do they look like they're competent enough to do this? They want to know, can you do it? Are you in the area? So you have to have that. And more specifically, if you're in a huge market like Dallas, you're going to want to say the sub areas so that the person knows that you serve their specific area. And that, by the way, for Google Ads goes for in the ad itself too. If you're in Tacoma, Washington, you say Tacoma, Washington. That's pretty much key. If you want the 30% conversion rate, that's something else that's not negotiable. You have to do it. The third thing on my list here is reviews. So, for the most part, going back to what I said before, maybe the second most important thing that most 90% people are going to, to them is going to be, can I trust the company? Are they competent enough to do it? Which goes kind of hand in hand there. How does it, in terms of how do people decide? If you're not going to be able to get a referral, which is why they're on Google in the first place, it's got to be reviews. You got to work on your good reviews, but not only that, you have to use them. Use them well on your landing pages. Make sure before they scroll, again, like the location, like the offer, which should also be at the top of the page. You have reviews that are going to say, your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews. Those, could be, different, bird eye. If you have local services, you could use that. The more the better. List them above the fold, make in an elegant way. And it is a kind of an art form to have all these must need to know pieces of information on your landing page above the fold, and so that they aren't cluttered. There's enough white space in between each one. I'm going to explain a formula how to lay that out so you do know how to do that without having to test it out and spend tens of thousands of dollars on your advertising until you figure out the hard way. You can just take my word for it on how I ultimately came to the conclusion on how to do that myself. Anyway, the fourth thing on my list before I get there is the headline. So the first most important thing on the page when people get there for a local landing page, like I said, is do they do it ultimately they say they're going to do. Now, there's two actual ways that I do that. One, I have a hero image, or in other words, a big image that takes up most of the background of the above the fold section of your landing page that's relevant to what the services you do, and not just some guy smiling. If it's a moving company, show somebody moving stuff out of the back of a truck. If you're an AC repair company, show somebody working on an AC system. And don't just use stock photos that with the guy clearly they bought brand new clothes and it's clearly a stock photo, and this guy has never touched a tool in his life. He's pretending to be a plumber. People are not stupid. Even if they don't know what a stock image is, they inherently know that's basically bullshit. So find something that looks like it's real. And if you don't have one, go, for gosh sakes, take a picture and get one. It's not that hard to have someone take a picture of you or one of your employees for your hero image. But you need the headline to say what you do. And more specifically, the keyword should be in the headline. So if they type in electrical panel repair, Dallas, you want it to say nothing else but electrical repair Dallas, okay? Then secondly, the sub-headline should go to, right underneath that headline, should say what it is that about your electrical panel repair service that's totally different than everybody else. So you have an offer that differentiates you, but as far as like what makes the service, the actual tangible what you get service different, you also need something different there if you want the 30% conversion rate as well. So anyway, that's the main things that you need to know. Now, how are these things arranged on your page so that they are what they call eye flow? In other words, how you see the page, how you take in the information so that you're able to process this in a way that you aren't confused and not overwhelmed, which takes good use of positioning, or you got to have good use of positioning, white space, alignment, colors, offsetting colors, contrast. There's a bunch of different stuff there, which I can't go into all the details exactly on the video, because there's also a few different ways to do those things. But in general, there's a general layout here I'm going to give you that works basically every single time you can use it. If you just go ahead and use this and aren't trying to get fancy, you'll get the 30% pretty much anyway, so you don't have to. So anyway, with that said, there's actually two different types of local landing pages that I have here. They're a little different than each other. One is for a product. If you sell let's say you sell a medical supplies. So for the motor scooters for disabled or elderly people, or chairs that help people get out of their chairs, stuff, equipment like that. Physical goods that people have to come to you and buy. Ultimately, with that, so this layout here is for if you have a company that sells something like that. Now, the first thing to know is, so your headline has to be or should be relevant to what they're searching. If they're searching for a scooter, mobility scooter, that should be the headline. But your hero image, instead of it being a scooter, it's going to be a picture of your storefront, so people know right when they get there that you're a local store that offers this right off the bat. Then usually what I do on these pages is I'll have an offer here in a dotted line box, which they call a Johnson box, that has a small discount on your first order or on the item itself and referencing that item itself. The landing page, for each major category of product you have to have a separate landing page for the 30% conversion rates. So if you sell motor scooters and you sell chairlifts, you need a page just for motor scooters and just a page for chairlifts. So anyway, with that, you have the headline kind of up here, you have the phone number up top, you have the logo up here, you have a picture of the map that shows where you're physically located. Underneath it, you have a button to get driving directions, and then next to it to get and fill out and ask a question in terms of and have a lightbox form that pops up. Directly underneath that, you have your reviews, your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews. And then in the center here, you have a picture of a mobility scooter, a small one, so that they know that you sell the product, but you have a store. And then directly below that, what you'll have is a few pictures, could be 3, could be 5. Odd numbers are better visually, psychologically for people to see. You have a picture of the different products within that category. And then you have down here a reverberation of what your offer is in terms of in text form, and then below that a link to your online inventory. Online inventory is huge for local product companies. Lots of people nowadays don't want to go to your store to see if you have something because people have been burned before, you're out of stock on certain things. They browse and then they'll call, or they'll browse and then they'll come in. But the key is some people don't want to come in. Some people will want to order online, some people won't. When they get to the page, the above the full layout, as I mentioned here, caters to everybody. So the goal pretty much is to get them to the catalog that shows your products, and specifically takes them to the motor scooters in this case, because that's what the page is for. They see that you have inventory that they want. They can maybe potentially call and verify you have it in stock, and they can come in and buy it. Then you got what you want. Then you have your footer, which has your legal stuff, privacy policy, all that kind of stuff. So that's for products. Now here on the other side, you have the local services. And with that, similar to the products, you have the phone number, the logo here. You have About Us. You have your other services up here in terms of the mini nav. You have the phone number. Then above here, you have your headline, sub-headline with your differentiators in it, as mentioned here. Then you have 3 reviews. So basically, your Google reviews, and when I say reviews, and referring back to these here, you want to say your star reviews. So Google 4.5 stars, Yelp 5 stars, Birdeye 4 stars. Save on both. Then you have your Johnson box again, your dotted box with your offer that says what you get for the service. If you have a plumbing service, you get $30 off your first time you call. And then you have a button within the same box that says request a service call or appointment, where if you click on that, there's a light box to get the person's information. You don't waste too much space with the form. You have that as a pop-up. If you don't do that and the Johnson box don't make sense, you can do a form here on the right-hand side, and that does also still work. and you could do it that way. Apart from that, down below your reviews, you have some more text and an image. The text and image is going to talk about what specifically is different about your services that you're offering. What are your prices like compared to the competition? What are your differentiators in terms of the services themselves? Elaborating on your subpoints here. Then you have your process. How do you deliver it? What's the 3 steps that you generally go through? Or it could be dedicated to the process all in itself, the 1, 2, 3 process that you have. Down below it, you have your case studies. Basically testimonials or case studies, or could be a white paper depending on, if you are in a tech service or something like that, it could be that. Then down below it, you have your FAQ about the buying. How long does it take to be served? What if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen? Answer all those basic questions. Audit your sales department. Find out the 10 most common questions that you normally have for sure, and get them answered there. Then down at the bottom section, you have a picture of the map so people know where to find you. Even if you go to them, it's like a restoration service. They still want to know where to track you down to instill trust. Then you have your hours here in the section, and then of course down below that you have your terms of service, your privacy policy, and so on and so forth. One other variation to this is if you don't have your 1, 2, 3 process here, you just talk about your differentiators of the service here. In between the FAQ and the section with the map and the hours, you can have your 1, 2, 3 process. Some people do that. Sometimes I've done that as well. But this is the general thing that I use over and over again to get 20, 30, 40% conversion rates on a page. And I know 40% is hard to believe, but you literally can get that if you do. Ultimately, they're there, assuming your PPC campaign is set up right. Now, this only applies if your ads are set up right, you've got negative keywords set up right, you have your ads set up right, your match types on your keywords set up right. They're there. They're there to get a moving service, or they're there to get a tattoo removal service. Why are they leaving? Why isn't half the people at least responding? Well, because you don't have most of these things on your site. I can tell you right now that's the way it is. I've verified this over and over and over again. So anyway, this is the general process for developing a local landing page that gets insane 30+% conversion rates for selling a product, to get people to call you or come in and sell them that way, or a service to get them to call you. And with that, pretty simple. Anybody can do this. I'd like to hear about your results. Go ahead and try this out. That said, you should subscribe to my channel. There's a bunch of other videos like this that talk about how to actually make money with PPC, actually how-to instructional guides that you're not going to be able to find in other channels. You can go to guaranteeppc.com and read our blog, which also has the same. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and good luck to you in your PPC endeavors.